Hey everyone, it's Cecilia Jane, and today we're going to be decorating the cover of my sketchbook. I'll make this intro pretty short and sweet, but yeah, basically we're just going to be decorating the cover of my sketchbook. It's going to be a time lapse. Originally, I wasn't even thinking about making this a video, but I was about to start painting it and I was like, well, I could just record it and do some voiceover. So it's just going to be like a time lapse, and I'm going to talk about my process, my inspiration, things like that. If that's not really your thing, that's totally cool. Definitely check out my other videos. I have tutorials and like live footage of me painting, things like that, so definitely go check out my other videos. But yeah, if this seems like something up your alley, definitely stay tuned and watch me decorate my sketchbook. Hey friends, so I'm recording this audio kind of first thing in the morning, so I apologize if my voice isn't exactly warmed up, but we'll warm it up together, it'll be good. But yeah, so I started off gessoing my sketchbook, doing the normal process that I kind of do. If you've ever watched any of my decorating the cover of my sketchbook videos, I always start by sandpapering it and then gessoing it. This just helps to put like a good base for the paint. And then as you can see, this time lapse moves pretty quickly because I wanted this video to be shorter. But yeah, basically we get right into blocking in colors. Depending on what medium I'm using, it kind of depends how the process of my painting goes. Obviously for like watercolor and oil and stuff, you would really specifically map out where everything's at and then fill it in, as opposed to filling it in on top of it. But for acrylic, that's one of the nice or not nice, depending on how you feel about it. One of the nice qualities about acrylic is that you can layer on top of it because it dries so darn quick. And it's not transparent, so that's nice. But yeah, for the inspiration and idea of this piece, I was really inspired by a lot of different things I'd been seeing on Pinterest. I've been trying to do like somewhat regular morning spreads of just like sketches and stuff. A lot of the sketches and stuff are heavily inspired by Pinterest or like just somewhat master copied of them. Of course I don't like post them and try to like get credit for them as my own or anything. I'm super against that. But yeah, anyway, I found some like kind of fairy-esque people, flower people, and so many different people did it, so it's not like I was just copying one design or anything like that. I really tried to make my own flower people. There were a lot of, like I said, a lot of different designs, but I was really inspired by the idea of like these flower kind of creature people. And I just thought it'd be really fun if they were kind of dancing in an Alice in Wonderland-esque world. They're kind of already Alice in Wonderland-esque, so I thought it fit really perfectly. Also, I was going to say, I mentioned my sketchbook spreads. If you want early access to those before I do a sketchbook tour, head on over to my Patreon, and just for $1 a month you can see those. But also if you pay like $5, you get a print and a cute little like monthly postcard, so definitely go check out my Patreon. Anywhere I can plug it, I will. But yeah, going back to this, it is pretty Alice in Wonderland inspired. I feel like I haven't seen the movie in forever, and honestly when I was designing this and making it, I wasn't thinking Alice in Wonderland, but afterwards I was like, wow, this really like screams Alice in Wonderland to me. Which is fun. I really want to watch the old cartoon version after like making this and having people tell me it looks like it, because I was like, man, I think I would be very much about that. About the old Alice in Wonderland cartoon. But yeah, and I'd also been wanting to do a scene where, well, I guess you're kind of looking down at the mushrooms, but I wanted to do a scene where you're really like, the viewer is really on the ground with these mushrooms. So you are kind of looking down at them, and like in past drawings I've done, I've liked the idea of like looking up at them, like you're almost like a bug or something. But I still feel like in this image as the viewer, you're pretty small. You're probably only like a few inches tall, and I like that play with scale. So that's something like I wanted to incorporate, is that play with scale. And I also tried to use a pretty limited color palette. I did a few swatches in my sketchbook. I'll pull up some of my earlier drawings and put them on screen of some of the sketches and stuff, and the kind of layout, like the design layout of it, because I was having some troubles with the poses of the people, but it makes it a little bit easier since they're kind of They're kind of like stick figures, but I still wanted them to be pretty fluid. And at this point in the painting, you can't really see them all that well. They kind of disappeared, but obviously I go back and redefine them. But I still wanted the figures to look kind of fluid, so I was playing around with the poses a lot, and I wanted them to look as if they were dancing, as if they were in motion. So yeah, there was some playing around with that. But yeah, I was trying to incorporate a limited color palette. And something I've been trying to do for some time now is try to really incorporate every color you put into the piece in another part of it. So for example, that blue it doesn't just live on its own, it's also in the shadows of the mushrooms, and it's also on like the specks or kind of the flaky bits on the red mushrooms. And then with the red, you know, there's mushrooms throughout, and then there's the reflected light, which just basically means like the light from that object. So like I'm really getting technical here, but on the left, that smaller mushroom, the red is kind of reflecting onto the other mushroom, because that's kind of how light works. And it's something within the past like few years I learned from one of my art professors, is that objects give off their own like kind of colored light. More sometimes than others, and I may have done a little bit too much there, but yeah, that's another way you can incorporate like the same color into the piece, is doing that kind of reflected light. So yeah, I was playing around with that a lot and just trying to really incorporate these colors everywhere. Like same with the green on the grass. I didn't want it to just look like just the grass was green, because you know everything's affected by that. So I incorporated some of those greens and kind of yellow hues into the mushroom stems. And then here we're actually already getting into painting the flower people. I used pink, which, as you know, there was really as you can see, there was really not a lot of pink elsewhere in the piece. So from that, I really tried to incorporate pink other places into the piece. So you don't see it right now, but in like the stems of the mushrooms, I add some pink, and then a few other places as well, I added some pink, just because, you know, I wanted to have pink, like I said, in other spots of the piece. And I think the stars I actually did pink as well, but you can't really tell because it's such a light pink. But yeah, I was like, the painting was going so well, and I was so happy with it up until the point where I was painting that peony, I think you pronounce it, I always say it wrong, peony, the peony flower. Yeah, I don't know, I was having troubles with it, but looking back on it, I'm like, oh, I think that looks fine, but I don't know, I was really just struggling with trying to make it look like it was at the right angle and stuff, but I think looking back on it, it looks okay. It was just a little troublesome. And then I was also trying to incorporate blue into like the shadows of the peony, the pink peony, which I think I do that in a little bit later, because like I said, I wanted to try to incorporate, I didn't want any part of the piece to look kind of like it didn't fit in, or like it was kind of its own entity. So that's why I try to incorporate the colors from, like, everywhere on the piece you see that color, I want to have it be seen somewhere else, if that makes sense. But yeah, I'm really, really happy with this piece overall. It's funny because I kind of decorated it towards the end of my sketchbook, when I was already wrapping up my sketchbook, so I didn't have that much time with this piece, like carrying it around and looking at it. But I did make prints of it, and it was actually the prints for my Patreon last month in April, I think, or actually it might be May, maybe this month. So yeah, you guys missed out. You gotta be a Patreon. But yeah, I'll probably be selling prints of this in my shop, so definitely check out my Etsy. I always have some fun stuff in there. Yeah, check out my Etsy. But yeah, I'm gonna make prints of this, and if you never see anything on my Etsy, but I talk about like having on my Etsy, just feel free to message me on Instagram, and I can definitely get you that print or whatever else. But yeah, thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed the process of this. Alright everyone, thank you so much for watching. Hopefully you found this video somewhat entertaining or informative or interesting. If you did, be sure to give it a thumbs up. Comment down below what you think of the design and what you have decorated on your cover if you have a decoration. If you want to see more videos by me, be sure to subscribe. Hit that bell notification button to be notified anytime I post a new video. The summer's coming up. I'm hoping to have a lot more free time, so I should be posting more regularly. I know I say that all the time, but I really want to, so yeah. But yeah, thanks so much for watching. Bye guys. And now it's that time of the video where we thank the lovely individuals who support me as an artist over on Patreon. By doing so, they get their name at the end of my videos, an exclusive look at sketchbook scan-ins, and other fun rewards like newsletters, prints, stickers, and more. If you want to support me over on Patreon, check out the link in the description.